Imagine opening a book. The first page begins with a flash of light. A universe appears. Space expands. Particles form. Stars ignite. Billions of years pass. Galaxies spiral through darkness. Planets gather around newborn stars. And on one small planet, life begins. Eventually, that life evolves into something unusual. Creatures capable of asking questions. Questions about the universe. Questions about existence. Questions about why anything exists at all. But here is a strange thought. What if the universe is not just a collection of matter and energy? What if the universe is something closer to a story unfolding through time? For centuries, science believed reality was built from matter. Tiny particles forming atoms, atoms forming molecules, molecules forming everything we see. Reality was imagined as a vast machine, a universe made from physical pieces interacting with one another. But during the 20th century, physics began revealing something unexpected. At the smallest scales of reality, matter stopped behaving like solid objects. Particles became unpredictable, uncertain, sometimes existing and not existing at the same time. And scientists began to suspect that matter might not be the deepest layer of reality. Something else might lie underneath, something more fundamental, something called information. In the late 20th century, physicist John Archibald Wheeler proposed a radical idea. He called it "it from bit." His suggestion was simple, but profound. Every physical thing in the universe, every particle, every field, every force, may ultimately arise from information. Binary information, yes or no, 0 or 1. According to Wheeler, reality might emerge from countless tiny moments where the universe resolves uncertainty into information. A quantum particle is measured. A possibility becomes a fact. A bit of reality is written, again and again and again. Almost like the universe is writing itself moment by moment. Around the same time, mathematician Claude Shannon developed something called information theory. His work showed that information could be measured, stored, transmitted, and processed, just like energy. Soon, scientists began noticing something remarkable. DNA is information. Computer code is information. Language is information. Even the laws of physics seem to behave like rules that process information. Some modern physicists now believe something extraordinary. The deepest layer of reality may not be particles at all. It may be information structures evolving through time. And if reality is information unfolding across time, then the history of the universe begins to look less like a machine and more like a sequence of events. Consider the timeline of the universe. First, the Big Bang, then elementary particles, then atoms. Hundreds of millions of years later, the first stars ignite. Inside those stars, heavier elements are forged: carbon, oxygen, iron. When those stars explode, they scatter those elements across space. Eventually, those elements form planets. On at least one of those planets, chemistry becomes biology. Biology becomes consciousness. And consciousness begins asking questions about the universe that created it. Each step emerging from the previous one. A chain of events stretching across billions of years. Not random chaos, but a structured unfolding, a progression, a timeline. And any system that unfolds across time through connected events begins to resemble something very familiar: a story. But perhaps the strangest idea of all is this: humans are part of the universe. Our brains are made from atoms forged inside ancient stars, which means when we study the cosmos, the universe is, in a sense, studying itself. Galaxies formed stars, stars formed planets, planets formed life, and life eventually formed minds capable of understanding the cosmos. For billions of years, the universe was silent. Then, it became aware enough to ask questions about its own origin. Of course, the universe is not literally a book. There may be no author, no narrator, and no final chapter waiting somewhere in the future. But if reality is built from information, and if that information unfolds across time, then the universe may be something deeply familiar. Not just particles drifting through space, but a sequence of events, an unfolding narrative, a story billions of years long. And somewhere within that story, for a brief moment, the universe became aware of itself and asked a question: what kind of story am I?